If I could go back in time and talk to my younger self about faith and ministry and just overall life, I think this is what I would say. So in this video, I want to share 10 things that I wish I knew sooner as a Christian. So let's start with the first one. You can't be right with God when you are wrong with people. So our relationship with God is deeply connected and deeply tied to how we treat others. And so I've learned that when I seek reconciliation and when I seek peace with my enemies, that's when I honor God. Now, I know I'm not the best at connecting with certain people, and that's okay. You know, you're not going to connect with every single person that you know, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't treat them with respect. And what I've learned over the years is that spiritual maturity is actually evidenced and revealed in how well we treat the strangers and the foreigners and the enemies in our lives and our ability to make peace with them. Now, this is something that I'm not good at. It's something that I'm still working on. But I think there's a reason why Jesus says this in the Beatitudes when he says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Number 2, small acts of faithfulness over time can lead to lasting change. I always thought that in order to make a difference, I had to do something big and flashy and something noticeable. And I think that there is a time and a place for that. But in general, I think that there is a greater chance of making a difference when you put in the consistent work. So for example, your faith is not going to grow if you only go to the big services throughout the year, like on Christmas or Easter. But your faith will grow and it will take root when you go to service week by week, month by month, and year by year. And I think that this principle applies in every area of life. There is no such thing as an overnight success, but only over time success. It's when you put in the consistent work. It's when you do the small acts of faithfulness over time that will lead to lasting change and to a lot of fruit. Number 3, not every church and not every Christian is going to get it right. Church hurt is real. Spiritual abuse is absolutely real. And I've had my fair share of negative experiences in the church, especially in my 16 years in full-time ministry. It's going to happen. The church is full of broken people. People make mistakes. And this includes, pastors and missionaries and church leaders and everyone that goes into church. But that wasn't the design that God had intended for the church. Just because I've encountered and experienced some negative and toxic people in the church doesn't mean that all Christians are like that. And let me tell you, I've met and worked alongside many sincere and genuine followers of Jesus Christ. And so what I have to remind myself all the time is that my loyalty and my allegiance is to Jesus Christ and not to the people inside the church. Number 4, serving others changes you. I always thought that serving was about helping others, which it is. But I didn't realize how much serving would change me. And I discovered that when I begin to serve others, I begin to look more like Jesus Christ, because Jesus himself said this in the Gospels. He says, "I came not to be served, but to serve." And so I really believe that when we take on the posture of a servant, it actually makes us more humble because it makes us more in tune to the needs of others. Number 5, you won't always understand what God is doing and his timing, and that's okay. I always thought I had to know everything that was going to happen in my life, especially when it was going to happen and why it was going to happen and where it was going to happen, because it's my life, right? I have a right to know. But then I realized that my life is not my own. God, he is my master and he is my creator, and he doesn't owe me any explanation. And this is what I learned over the years. I've learned and discovered that faith is less about understanding and more about trusting. We live by faith and not by sight. And this is why it says in the scriptures, we trust in the Lord with all of our hearts, and we lean not on our own understanding, but in all our ways we acknowledge him, and then God will make our path straight. And I know that this is extremely difficult to do, especially as you get older. But what I always have to remind myself is that God, your ways and your thoughts are higher than mine. Number 6, and this one is kind of hard for me to even understand, and it is that not every open door is from God. So I used to think that every opportunity that opened up in my life was a gift and a sign from God. And what I've learned over the years is that just because something looks good on the surface, like getting a good job or getting into a good school or getting a good salary, doesn't necessarily mean it's right or that it's in God's will. And I'm always reminded of this verse in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12, and it says this: there is a way that appears to be right, but in the end leads to death. And so what I've learned over the years is that wisdom and discernment is the difference maker in understanding whether or not an opportunity is from God. Number 7, and I really want you guys to hear this one. Not every battle is worth fighting. You are going to meet a lot of diverse people in your life. Some people are going to give you a lot of joy and laughter and happiness and positivity. And there are going to be others that are going to make you annoyed and going to bring you chaos and going to bring you a lot of stress. And what's even worse is that some people do that intentionally. You don't have to argue with every single person that you disagree with. Let me tell you, it is emotionally exhausting. It's taxing. It just drains you of your energy, your time, and your resources. And it's really not worth it at the end of the day. And so I want you guys to hear me on this. Sometimes peace and silence is the best thing that you could do. Choose your battles wisely. Number 8, your character will get you further than your skill and your talent. Okay, so this one is really important. Your talent and your skills will get you in the door. It'll get you that job. It'll get you in the room, but it's your character and your reputation and what other people say about you and what they think of you that will make you stay. And I've seen a lot of pastors who were extremely gifted and anointed and talented who had thriving ministries, but because of a character flaw and issue, all that was taken away immediately. And so you should work hard and diligently on your talent and on your skill set, but do not neglect your character. If anything, I think you should work harder on your character than your talent and your skill set. Number 9, you will never be ready, so just jump and then learn as you go. No one is ever truly ready for any opportunity or trying something new. There is no such thing as waiting for the perfect time and for the perfect conditions because it doesn't exist. I think that's an excuse that people like to use to avoid trying something new. And what I've learned and what I'm still learning is that it's always better to just get started and then to make adjustments and tweaks and changes as you go. And you're going to be further ahead and you're going to have an advantage by starting messy rather than waiting for the perfect time and the perfect conditions, because again, it just doesn't exist. You're not going to gain any skills or any confidence by thinking, but only by doing. And so the more that you do, the more that you put yourself out there, the more that you just get started, the more ready and prepared you will be. Number 10. Where you are headed is far more important than how fast you are going. A lot of people chase and they value speed and efficiency. And people will do whatever it takes to rush to success, to wealth, and to achievements without ever considering whether or not that is the right direction for them. And what ends up happening is that a lot of people end up cutting corners, they lose their integrity, and sometimes they manipulate people and circumstances just to chase after success. But what good is it if you're going fast in the wrong direction? You're just going to end up in a place that you never wanted to be in the first place. And so good things take time, but it also takes the right direction. It's far better to go slow and patiently in the right direction rather than going fast and efficiently in the wrong direction. But hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comment section down below which lesson resonated with you the most. Hey, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. So here is the joke of the day. Which superhero spends a lot of time in the sun? Captain America. Boom.